Yo, welcome back again today, guys. Today I have a very interesting video. I'm a big car guy. You guys know I love the car and automotive industry. I'm a big time racer and track F1 rally. So today we're going to be talking about another man of African descent. Today we're going to be talking about Charles Richard Patterson. Charles Richard Patterson was born in Virginia on a plantation in 1833. His father and mother, Charles and Nancy Patterson, were also slaves. Not much is known about Charles's childhood, but many believe he acquired his skills of blacksmith from working with the plantation's blacksmith. Charles would soon escape from slavery and head north. He would venture through the mountains of the slave state of West Virginia and eventually made it to the northern state of Ohio. He would soon settle in Greenfield, Ohio in 1861. Sometime after, Charles would work as a blacksmith for the carriage building business, Dines and Simpson. Most agree that Charles would work for room and board within the city. Charles would work for the best known wagon and coach builder, and soon would move up to foreman of the company due to his top quality work. He would go on to marry Josephine Utz in 1865 and have 5 children within the next 15 years. It is unclear if Josephine Utz was white or mulatto. Mulatto was a racial term used to classify a person of black and white mixing. Some African Americans at the time were so light they would pass as white or be classified as such due to skin tone. Josephine and Charles would have 3 daughters and 2 sons. In 1873, Charles would go into partnership with a white man, J.P. Lowe, another Greenfield-based carriage manufacturer. Lowe would join Charles to produce a very successful carriage building business over the next 20 years. This business was called Lowe's and Patterson. In 1893, Charles would buy out Lowe's shares and became owner of the company. Charles would go on to reorganize the company and form C.R. Patterson and Sons Company. He would name it this to include his second son, named after the famous abolitionist and social reformer, Frederick Douglass. Charles' son, Frederick Douglass Patterson, would go on to graduate from high school and attend the Ohio State University. He would also become the first African American to ever play on the Ohio State football team. Charles' youngest son, Samuel, would stay with his father to run the family business, which he was a particularly important part of. Frederick would leave Ohio State to teach in Louisville, Kentucky. He would soon return to Ohio due to his brother's worsening sickness, leading to his brother Samuel passing in 1899. Frederick would move back to Ohio, leaving his teaching job to assist with the family business. The company would go on to build 28 types of horse-drawn vehicles and employed 35 to 50 employees, with 10 to 15 working on highly successful ranges of carriages. These carriages would sell from $120 to $150 each, and the doctor's buggy was the most popular. These vehicles were sold throughout the South and the Midwest. Charles Patterson would be awarded patents. A patent, for those who might not know, is an exclusive right granted for an invention, which also gives the owner legal right to exclude others from using the invention. The awarded patents are as followed: a trill coupling in 1887, a furniture caster in 1891, a vehicle dash in 1905, a combination ladder in 1910, and a buggy top in 1911. This successful business plan would not last long as the automobile was approaching quickly. In 1910, Charles would die, leaving the company to his son Frederick. Frederick was vice president and an early member of the National Negro Business League, started by Booker T. Washington. He was also well educated and had a good business sense. Frederick saw the change happening in the transportation world, and he was aware of the assembly line taking place north in Detroit, just a couple hours from the company. Frederick would initiate the conversion from carriage vehicle business into an automotive manufacturer. He would first start by offering interior repairs for upholstery and paint. He would then offer engine services and electric repair services soon after. C.R. Patterson and Sons Company would soon develop and produce their own vehicles. Their first car debuted in 1915 and would be sold for $850 with a 4-cylinder Continental engine. The vehicle was offered in touring configuration and roadster configuration. The vehicle used custom parts and off-the-shelf parts, featuring demountable rims, electric lighting, split windshield, electric starter, floating rear axles, and cantilever springs. This vehicle costs more than the Ford Model T, and many customers even stated it was a more luxurious ride with every creature comfort the modern man could want. The Patterson Greenfield also cost less than more luxurious companies with almost the same features, such as Cadillac, a 40 horsepower motor, and a chassis that could top out at 50 miles per hour. Marketing to regional customers in the Midwest and Ohio, as well as to African Americans through black publications, this would spread the message of the new car with haste. Even though the craftsmanship and refinement was there, the company never had the manufacturing funds, mass, or capability that such companies as Ford had. Making somewhere around 150 cars, competing against bigger companies, and producing a mid-class luxury vehicle would prove extremely hard. Scaling the company would be difficult, and in 1918, just 3 years later, the company would focus on repairing vehicles and halted producing vehicles. Soon after, Frederick would reorganize the company and named it Greenfield Bus Body Company. Essentially, Frederick would turn the company back into what his father produced, a carriage producer, one that did not build motors nor drivetrains, just bodies. These bodies would be placed over existing Ford, Dodge, and International chassis. The company would use $50,000 of investments, supplying school bus bodies throughout the Midwest and South. At this time, there was a huge demand for school buses, and Frederick would fill that niche for school boards in Kentucky and Southern Ohio. The company also built custom coaches for regional and local businesses. From 1922 to 1923, the company would produce 500 bodies of various types of vehicles. Annual sales were $150,000, and it is said that the company even shipped bodies to Haiti as well. This success would not last long, with the Great Depression settling in on America. Economic downfall and the stock market crashing would spell bad news for the company. Sales would fall within this time period, and obtaining loans were near impossible. Frederick would go on to marry Betty Postal and have 2 kids. In 1901, they would marry in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and have 2 children. In 1903, the oldest, Frederick Postal Patterson, was born in Greenfield, Ohio. He would go on to study at Ohio State and then join his father, Frederick, in the family business. Frederick supported many black businesses and served as Greenfield's delegate to the annual Ohio Republican Party caucus. Being interested in politics, he was very eager to push the Ohio black vote for the Republican presidential candidate, Warren G. Harding. Frederick was also a member of the Foraker Club and took interest in Booker T. Washington. He was also Episcopalian and served as master of Greenfield's Masonic Lodge No. 17. The company would also be mentioned in the Horseless Age issue in the very old civil rights publications called The Crisis. Unfortunately, Frederick would pass away in 1932. He would leave the business to his son, Postal. The company would go on to struggle once more and reorganize as Gallia Body Company. The company would soon move to Gallipolis, Ohio, due to not being able to raise money in Greenfield. This would only last for 1 year, as financial support and lack of local workers' experience would take a toll on the company. The company would close in 1939 after 74 years of operation. The only products that we know still exist are commercial vehicles, storm buggies, which featured stationary sloped whips, which let drivers sit inside and whip horses without elements affecting them, carriages, and rural delivery buggies. These all exist in private collections as well as public collections. So yo guys, today we learned about another man of African descent. I really love this story, just like I love all stories of people of African descent in the automotive world. Like I've told you guys before, I really love cars. I'm a big car guy. And you know, to see something like this so long ago for our people really does push me and should push everyone else to appreciate what they have done and what trailblazers they were, and also to think about trying to collectively make another African American car company, which I've already been in works with. But as you know, it takes a lot of money, and that's one of my major dreams, is to make an African American car company. But you know, we'll see what happens in the future. So yo guys, always like and subscribe. Please turn on your bell notifications so you'll always get all my videos. Add me on all social medias, which is Afric Network, which is also on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud. Yo guys, always love each other, always learn about each other, always try to spread the knowledge about each other. And until next time guys, peace, keep driving. One love.